Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. Today is going to be all about cooking, bulk cooking, so that you have ingredients and meals ready to go whenever need be. So I'm going to be making some spaghetti nut squash soup, and I'm going to add chicken into it so it's an actual full-on hearty meal, as well as some marinara sauce and some more surprises along the way for you. Let's get started.
Butternut squash is very hard, so be careful when cutting it and use a nice and sharp knife. Otherwise, you run the danger of hurting yourself. After the spaghetti squash has cooled enough to handle, transfer it and the sauce base into a blender, blend it all up, and then add whatever toppings you want. I'm transferring all of this into containers in order to freeze in individual portion sizes. This is shredded chicken that I made several weeks ago. It's one of the nice things about prepping ingredients is that you can use them in multiple meals at any point in time. I've never used canned tomatoes before to make my marinara sauce, and I have to say that I am pleasantly surprised. The taste is not quite as good as fresh tomatoes, but isn't that the case with everything when it comes to fresh? But I didn't have to cook it nearly as long because there wasn't as much liquid, and so when you're really busy, that is something that is very, very nice. Time to transfer the marinara sauce into some mason jars. I do this for multiple reasons. One of these jars is enough sauce for Isaac and I with spaghetti, and it's very easy to freeze them this way and not have to pull out too much sauce at one time. I was really happy that those 2 cans of tomatoes provided us with 8 jars of sauce, which is going to last us several months. Oh my goodness, does anyone else notice that every time I dump the sauce, I open my mouth? This cracked me up. We like to buy blocks of cheese in order to shred them. I find that you get a lot more shredded cheese this way, and it's far more cost effective. All of this should last us about 6 to 8 months, but I'm not really sure. We've never bought more than 3 at a time to shred, and that's about 4 months. So I'm just going with an educated guess, and I say educated because sometimes this family of cheese lovers goes through a period of we basically just eat cheese for food. Flattening the bags out in order to freeze them and then you can store them upright makes it a lot easier for space saving, and it also makes it easier to get the cheese out and not have to break it up after it's frozen. What I'm making here is called fathead pizza dough, and this is mainly a cheese-based form of bread. When I was pregnant, I developed an intolerance to grains, and so thankfully in today's society, it's really easy to find recipes for everything without grains, but you do have to make it all yourself. I'm not good at making round pizza dough with a rolling pin, so I always just use my hands and make sure they are nice and oiled. This is 90-second microwave bread, and I really enjoy making these because I can do a whole bunch very quickly. All the links to the recipes will be down below in the description box. Now it's time for Easter cookies, which are just macaroons with nuts in them, and this recipe called for pecans and granulated white sugar, which I had neither of, so I wanted to show you guys that you can use different items just in the correct proportions. So I am using almonds because that's what I had, and then instead of granulated sugar I used powdered sugar, which is slightly different proportioned, but you can still use. So if you don't have everything on hand, just look up and see what you can substitute with. Make sure that when you're folding the nuts in that you don't overfold it, otherwise the egg whites will start to lose all of their air and collapse. I'm using the 90-second bread to make us dinner. I'll also be cooking egg drop soup. This bread is best if you toast it. Otherwise, it has a very eggy flavor, which makes sense because the number one ingredient in it is egg. While the bread toasts, I'm going to make our soup, bring it to a boil, and then use chopsticks to pour the eggs over. This helps to prevent clumping of giant egg bits inside of the egg drop soup. These are the cookies the next morning. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it gave you some cooking ideas. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!